Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Random Crafty Acts, or welcome to Random Crafty Acts. My name is Barb, in case you've never been here before. This is a video in the middle of what you will see on the playlist is entitled as The Big Project. Mass making is basically what I do when it comes to card making, though I do make individual cards as well. But a lot of my work is mass making. And so I've developed a different system that I use in order to figure out the best way to get through making 30 to 50 cards. Okay, so what we've been doing so far is we worked our way towards these two designs. Okay, we cut card bases, we cut the layers, which you'll find in the previous videos, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. These backgrounds are 4 by 5 1/4. I always have to look because I don't remember. We did watercoloring and ink blending. We did some stamping. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay. We did some stamping on the ink blending, okay? And I'll talk about that right there in just a moment. All right, we tried some things that I ended up feeling like didn't work very well. This was one where this was on watercolor paper and I tried to do the stamping and I just feel like it didn't come out quite as well as I would have liked. So it's been about practicing and experimenting and trying to find different things that worked without just sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to make this card and this card, and I'm going to make 15 of these, and I'm going to make 15 of these, and then just do them all assembly line style, which I've done before, but not this time. Okay, so everything you see here is divided into stacks because the point that I'm at with this is I'm putting together what would be referred to as card kits. Okay, that is things that are partially done, and so I did the bulk stuff. So I made all of the card bases, okay, and those are divided up here. I went through and I cut all of the 4 by 5 1/4 sheets. Okay, these are cut out of 65-pound cardstock, white cardstock. These are cut out of 110-pound cardstock because, as I've said before, these are A2 cards. They're all 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because I can take an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet, cut it in half this way, fold it, and get 2 cards. I can do the card this way. I can do the card this way. So, and I have envelopes that fit that. Okay, so I cut all of these. I cut all of these. These are 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I cut all of these, knowing that something that I've done to this will go on top of here. For the pictures that I've taken, these are pictures of the flowers that are out in our yard, which if you look on my YouTube channel, you will find a category called Garden Walks, and you can see pictures of what the garden actually looks like. Everything that's blooming out there right now are daylilies. These are set up to go this way on this card, okay? And then I put all those together and I put like things in a stack, okay? So some of these, none of these in this stack had the background finished. Okay, and there I never remember numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 of these. Okay, there's my air conditioner because it's summer. Okay, for this card, things are in the same way. The card base, the big mat, the 4 by 5 1/4, and the picture that's going to go in the middle. Notice that this picture is a little different from this picture. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with the that piece of background. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And all of these, oh, not all of these have the yellow daylily picture taken, because there are still flowers blooming that I'm probably going to take pictures of and use on here. In fact, there were a couple that bloomed just this morning. Okay, so I have those. All right. But style-wise, these are similar. These are partially finished. Okay. And I think I'm going to do something a little bit different with this and this. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one I'm going to need a flower for. 7. Okay. All right, so just for entertainment purposes, I'm going to go ahead and put one of these together. Let me get my glue bottle. Another thing I experimented with last night, it was kind of interesting, was a friend sent me, it's absolutely gorgeous. You'll have to look at the, over on YouTube, there's some, there's a picture of it, but it's a solar powered watering can yard decoration. Okay, so I'm putting the picture inside the square. And we went out at night after it had set out and gotten all charged up, and it's just gorgeous. So as a way of dealing with that, I decided, you know, there are 2 different ways you can do. Notice I'm using liquid glue, and I always forget that this doesn't work very well for me on the glass mat because it slides. So I use these. What do I keep saying? I buy these at the dollar store for $1.25, and that way, if they get too nasty, because the ink doesn't come off of them very easily, I can throw them away. Okay, all right, you line it up. I hope I'm in frame. You line it up just a smidge there, and just a smidge there, and that's not too bad. Okay. I think there's a previous video where I had one down and I tore it all the way off, and you get to see what it looks like when I really have to fix a mess. Okay, and then this goes on here. Okay, so now the decision is, do I do this way? Do I do this way? I think I'm doing this one this way because of the shape. You don't want to do it this way because then the flower's crooked. Okay, so I'm going to put this out in the center. And again, if you are a measurement person, then you get your little rulers out and all that, and you line stuff up. I used to do it that way. I don't anymore. I just eyeball it. Okay. There's a previous video where I showed how I work with the silhouette, which is similar to a Cricut that you may be familiar with. Again, you don't have to do this way. You could print these onto strips and cut the strips and put the strips on, and that would work just fine. If you have a stamp that says this, you could use that. Okay, all right, so there's one. Let me see if I have another one. Yep, backgrounds aren't finished on any of those. Okay, this is the watercolor paper that I tried to use the double-sided adhesive on in a previous video, and we kind of went to the mat with that. And I don't use double-sided adhesive because Once it touches the paper, it's down. And if you need to move anything, it's just too bad. Okay, I think I'm gonna do, I may do this one, landscape. We'll see. Oh, so anyway, I was talking about the garden. And so we have this new yard decoration out there, and it's just really gorgeous. But this picture is one that I have been trying to get for days. And the flowers around it keep, like, the blooms keep changing. Daylilies are called daylilies because the bloom is there for one day. It opens up, it's there for the day, and then it's gone. Not all flowers are that way, obviously. They bloom and they're pretty for a few days, and that works really nice, but daylilies are not like that. And so I had been waiting for the flowers in here to bloom, and they just bloomed yesterday. Okay. I think I'm going to put the Happy Summer down here. So the other thing I'm doing is I'm writing a letter, like a Christmas letter, that will go inside. That will go inside this, like I said, like a Christmas letter, because we usually have so much going on that through a year that if I want to highlight all this wonderful work that my husband does outside in the garden, I have to do it this time of year. And I think there is more than one size. I may have to pause the video and, oh, there is. Okay, that's all right. Doesn't matter. Okay, there's two. I'll do all four of these. The other ones that are in the stack there, if you look at previous videos, you'll find that I decided while I have worked with watercolor paper before, I decided that it wasn't working for this the way I wanted. And I cut those out of the 65-pound. Watercolor paper is heavier than 65-pound. It's heavier than 110-pound, but it has totally different properties. I think I even mentioned in the previous video that when I cut these in a couple of different sizes, I just dumped them all into the same container, which has turned out to be not necessarily my best choice. Okay, 3. So if you are into mask making, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave a comment. And if you have, any thoughts you'd like to share on things you do when you're mask making, it would be nice to know that. If you have questions about mask making, please put that in the comments below. If you have not subscribed, see, this is where I was experimenting with it. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would do that. Anybody who's out in any of the platforms right now, regardless of which ones they are, from YouTube to Substack to TikTok to Instagram, we're all trying to deal with what's referred to as the algorithm, which is the computer thing that runs what comes up when you search. And so there are different things that that program does to indicate which videos get put out there. So I am trying to promote Operation Gratitude, which is the group that I do all of my mask making for, because I donate. There are the other little happies. I donate all my cards. I mean, I don't know enough people to send enough cards to satisfy my card making obsession. And sometimes I do all the artistic type of things that I'm doing on the back of these, and a lot of times I use pattern paper, which I have an abundance of. But if you will subscribe, that helps. If you will click the thumbs up, that helps as far as pushing it out there. I am not monetizing, so it doesn't cost you anything to do that, and I don't make any money. I'm just trying to get the information out there. Okay, so those look a little better than I thought they would, because I wasn't real pleased. I was a little happier with this one than these three. Okay, so I'll have to come up with flowers for those. Have to see what's blooming today, and get those put out there. Okay, so these 4 are done except for the flowers, so they get put in this stack. This one is finished, so it gets put in the done box. These need backgrounds, and these need backgrounds, which I will be experimenting with in probably the next video. The one thing I have not done is worked with stencils. And the other thing I haven't done with you is work with an embossing folder, which I'm going to show you this since this is kind of a short video. Okay, look at the detail in this and how part of the image is raised and part of it is not. Okay, you need a die cutting machine to do this. It's my understanding you can't do this without some kind of a die cutting machine, because you need a tool. You put the paper in here, you buy these, you put the paper in here, you run this through, and it creates this. Okay, in this case I took the ink pad and lightly moved back and forth across it so that it colored just the area that was raised. Okay, this one, I didn't get it set up just right, and so I've got this edge along here that doesn't have anything on it. So I'll probably end up cutting this down into a 3 3¾ by 5, which will be a slightly different design in the center. This one I did in both ways. The first is to rub the ink over on this side, which is, I think this is considered the embossed, embossed side. This side is referred to as the debossed side, okay? And the ink had soaked through, but typically see, as you can see here, it soaks through. This would be white, and the debossed side would pick up the raised portion, and the ink would end up on the flat portion, because this is in, and so the ink doesn't hit that. It's messy. It's also really pretty. And I did both sides just to see how this paper was going to deal with it, and because I hadn't done it for a while. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these in particular, but those were a test. So we will probably do that on some of these. And these are 3 more that are ready to do. So we will do that probably in the next video. Okay, I'm going to pause the video for just a second. Had to deal with some noise outside. Okay, we will work on these probably off camera, and then we'll later, probably in the next video, we will deal with that, and we will deal with a stencil, which I had one I was going to show you. The other thing you do is you lay this down on top of one of the white pieces, and you use the blending brush and you blend over the top, and then you get the design on the paper. Okay, I have a lot of stencils and I have to figure out which one I want to work with. I mean, I have stencils like this, stencils like this. I have all kinds of stencils. Okay, so we'll probably do a few backgrounds with stencils as we are continuing to create pictures of the flowers since they're still blooming. All right. Well, thank you for being here with me. Again, if you would subscribe and like, I would appreciate it. And tell your friends. And I will continue to spread the word on Operation Gratitude. You can find the details on the regarding donations and how to make them in the description block below. Thank you very much. Bye.